what's another way that being ADHD autistic affected your sex life?
Okay, well, you know how I was telling you about how I had a really bad problem from a really early age with obsessive, compulsively self-stimulating, and it was really disturbing to my mom and really confusing to me because I didn't know what was going on because it wasn't a sexual thing at all. It was truly just a way to deal with stress. I was dissociating, you know?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know how I would deal with that.
I don't either, but I do think that it would have been something that would have helped my mom to know because it is disturbing if you look at it from a sexual lens, right? But if you understand what stimming is and you can recognize obsessive compulsive sensory seeking behavior, then suddenly it's not scary anymore because it's not shameful, you know?
So you don't end up punishing and shaming unnecessarily, right?
Exactly. And that actually is another big way that being ADHD autistic affected my relationship with sex because from a very early age, I also experienced something which is not uncommon for children who've gone through trauma. Like for me, it started in the orphanage probably, which is a groinal response to extreme fear and terror and anxiety.
So you got turned on by these things?
Nope. And that's what's so hard for some people to not only like fathom, but maybe even believe, like such a disconnect between mind and body. It's mental anguish and torture, in all honesty, but it's a purely physiological response that some people develop to fear and anxiety.
I'm sorry, it's just so hard for me to imagine.
I know. It's really torturous because it feels like your body is betraying you. The relationship between fear and purely physical arousal is quite complex, but my point is that it probably didn't help that compulsion at all, you know, especially when it comes to intrusive thoughts that you quite literally sometimes cannot stop thinking about.
Jesus.
Yeah, and I think that's when you realize that fear means something very different to all of us because the times when it would manifest the most was actually when I would procrastinate as a kid. Like timed math tests in public school were a really confusing and frustrating time for me because like I wasn't turned on by math, but my body would just
I guess that sounds awful.
I don't think it was until my mid-30s that I actually realized and knew that I wasn't a bad, dirty person, that it was possible for my body to contradict what my mind wanted to do. Kind of like, you know, when men have erectile dysfunction, only like reverse.
Okay.
I don't know. I just think that the way that we handle these things will fundamentally affect the way that we think about sex and intimacy for the rest of our lives. So it's worth at least like acknowledging it. And also, it's not just for the sake of like the undiagnosed kid. It's also for the mom. Like, she doesn't have to feel like a piece of shit. You know, she doesn't have to feel like weird and guilty about things, you know?
Totally.
Yep. So what do you want to talk about next?
How it affected my gender expression and actual sexuality, how I had to learn certain rules of conduct when it came to modesty because I just didn't naturally subscribe to certain social constructs. Probably made me seem like a pick-me at times and probably made me seem like I was flirting when I just wasn't. Or how that same blind spot also ended me up in some dangerous situations in addition to making it really easy for me to dance at nightclubs because I don't ever really identify with my body. I just consider it like a meat sack because we're all just conscious